because as we know, especially in 2020, and I'm sure it's been happening before, so many deaths of the African Americans by the police officers, usually the white ones, and that friction. So how would you say the training that you had compared to the training today? What is it that could possibly be missing today?
Well, there's a number of things that are taking place today that was not an issue for us. For example, we didn't have warrior training, and I don't want to get into what that is, but you can research it and find out what that's all about. And we were connected to our community, which is a different situation. If you don't know the people that you're policing, then the tendency is to treat them a little differently. In my particular situation, I knew everybody in my city. If I didn't know you, I knew your parents, I knew the family, I knew where you came from. I often tease my wife sometimes. We look at a name, I say, well, he ain't from around here, because, we know the families and we know our blacks. It doesn't make any difference, because at that time, New Bern was about 25,000 people, so it's easy if you police the same area over and over again. You get to know the people. So you can call somebody and have them come in rather than go out and pick them up. And there were some people like, and I sure hate to call folks his name, but we have a mother in the church.
Okay.
Who was basically in charge of half the city, all this stuff. But she was instrumental in making sure that we kept everything in line. If I needed to address a problem, I could tell her.
Wow.
She would handle it. And if there was something she needed to handle, she could call me.
Now that's a relationship.
Yeah, and that helped us, which is why we didn't have the kind of racial issues here in New Bern that we've had in some other cities. And I think the aggressiveness of the police have a lot to do. If there's always a possibility of picking up a guy the next day, we would do that. And sometimes you don't have to get into a one-on-one confrontation.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so as far as the police force and ministry itself, how did you get started with heading a church?
Well, we see so many problems without solutions.
Yeah.
And when you see a lot of problems that don't have a tangible solution, how do you fix this? How do you do that? You figure out, I guess, over a period of time that maybe the answer is not in laws and restriction. Maybe it's in church. Maybe there's a possibility that you can resolve some of these issues by maybe changing people rather than changing the law. So we started, right where we were, with dealing with folks on the job. And sometimes drug dealers were some of the worst, because these are very smart people. And they're very strategic in what they do. And yet, I didn't meet any that were happy.
That's understandable.
So, well, you would think that with your money and your fame that you'd be happy.
Okay.
Yeah, but when you talk to them, one-on-one, you find that there's something missing that's not there. And fortunately for me, once I got saved, I knew what was missing. And I could tell people, not just, drug dealers or that kind of thing, but people in general that had problems, that had issues that they needed some help with.
Okay.
People have, I used to watch people go to certain spots every day. They would go and sit at these spots all day long with another group of men. They just all sit around and they drank beer or maybe, I don't know, smoked a little pot, whatever they were doing. But they were so diligent. They would walk to wherever they were coming from to that spot and sit there all day. 5 o'clock is like, basic o'clock, and they leave to go home. And I thought, this is strange. So I started talking to some of them, well, why do you do this? My thought was, if you are that diligent about showing up on time, spending the day doing something, and then leaving at a certain time, you might be able to do the same thing in a job, in a real job. So you start ministering them where they are, and pretty soon you find that there is a need that's not being met. So Bishop Thomas, my pastor at that time, suggested that perhaps we needed to do something in New Bern, working with the ministry we had in Greenville, and that maybe we could help more people by having something that would be able to, give these people a place to do some things, So we came up with the idea of Dayspring Ministries, and the idea was to bring light, or to bring enlightenment to people who were having struggles with life, issues of life. So we started the training with, I think there was a book, and I can't remember the name of the author now, but the book was called Training for Randy. And you could see it in our mission statement, Training for Randy. And the idea was that we could train people to come above, or to rise above their circumstances. They could be better in life. They could own property. They could have jobs. They could accumulate wealth. They could get an education. You can reign in life. And that's what we started. So everything was geared for that. And it was a training or a teaching ministry, not a preaching. I can't preach. I will tell you today that I can't preach, but I could teach. I know I know how to reach people.
Yes, sir.
So that was the thrust of what we were doing.